Cascade Hoops Talk, Billy D, Season 7, Episode 1, Cascade Hoops Talk. Thanks for coming back for another year of torture, having to listen to Billy D rant and rave about who knows what. This season, what we're going to do, it's August. We're still getting our feet under us. Everybody's kind of guessing who's going to have what. A lot of teams are really rebuilding this year. We'll talk about that later as we get this show rolling a bit more. But what we wanted to do these first couple weeks or so is talk to some coaches. A lot of coaches moved around, new coaches to the NAIA. A lot of coaches, moved up from assistant to head roles. We wanted to talk to a few of those coaches, kind of introduce them to the NAIA audience and let you know them before the season gets started here. We're not going to go really in depth with where their program is, just more their background and what they hope to accomplish at their school. So that being said, we're going to start with Cody Henson today. I really enjoyed my conversation with him. He's the new head basketball coach at Central Baptist, and I'll shut up and let's get this show rolling. Cascade Hoops Talk, produced in the shadow of the beautiful Cascade Mountains and bringing the world NAIA basketball one podcast at a time. One thing when I talked to Coach Henson that caught my ear is he said no excuses coming in here year one, no gap year, no getting used to things year. I have full expectations coming into the season. Obviously, coming into a conference like the American Midwest and trying to keep up with the standard that's been set at Central Baptist is going to be a high bar. But Coach Henson is definitely determined to come in and have a full year and no excuses. That's basically the way he put it. And I really like that. So why don't we just I'll get out of your way here, and why don't we take a listen to Cody Henson. He's the head coach at Central Baptist College. Cascade Hoops Talk, Billy D. Hey, I got Cody Henson here, new head men's basketball coach at Central Baptist, those Mustangs. Welcome, Cody. Thanks for being on the show.
Hey, I appreciate it very much.
We were just talking a moment ago. You were officially named, I think, less than 2 weeks ago. You're in Conway now. Just talk about your reception there at the school and in Conway.
Yeah, I mean, everybody on campus has been extremely supportive. Obviously with getting the job just a few weeks before school starts, I'm in scramble mode and everybody else is in scramble mode, along with me trying to assist us to continue the winning ways that the Mustangs have had over the last few years. And I can't ask for much more, and been super supportive and respectful for everything that's going on.
So your last job was at Northwestern Oklahoma, Division II school. You've been a head coach at the prep school level. If I'm not mistaken, this is your first college head coaching job. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
What are you most excited about being at a college, a school with a good basketball program, a well-known basketball program, and sitting in that first chair?
Yeah, I think, growing up, in basketball heaven over in Indiana and obviously being in the NAIA heaven over there, I tell people all the time, either you go NAIA or you go D1 in Indiana. There's really no in between. I think being down here and being at CBC, and the winning culture that has been developed over the last few years from three solid coaches who obviously have moved on and are successful at their current positions that they've had. But, what I'm most excited about is obviously my goal and dream since I was probably in sixth grade was to be a college head coach. I had kind of maybe for most an untraditional route. Most guys start out as being a GA or a student manager and working their way up that way. And then someone helps them, get in a position somewhere else. But, I kind of started a little bit untraditional of, starting at two different high schools in Indiana. And then I just kind of had a personal reality check with myself about, hey, if you want to get to the college level, like you need to kind of make some changes. And what I decided at that time was that I wanted to hop over to the elite prep school side of coaching against teams like IMG and Mountverde and Oak Hill and other schools like that, where I could coach the top talent, recruit the top talent, get experience that way, and develop massive amounts of relationships across the world, and especially the U.S. And I think that helped shape, mold, and critique myself every day, because it's a grind at that level. I mean, it's like coaching, Power Five, Division I basketball,
Wow.
because of the recruits that we would bring in. And but now, that I've had the opportunity, being blessed to be in this position as a head coach at the college level, especially a program that was just top 15 in the country last year, is super exciting. I think we got a good recruiting class coming in, a really good group of guys that are all bought in, just with the mindset of, coach, I don't care what position. It could be a guy who played point guard last year and they're like, I don't care, I'll go play center, I just want to win.
Yeah.
And those are the type of guys that I definitely want in our program.
Coach, just out of curiosity, where did you grow up and go to high school in Indiana?
I'm originally from South Bend, Indiana, and I went to South Bend Riley.
Oh, you did? Okay. So when you were growing up, then were you familiar with IU South Bend and some of those Bethel and some of those programs around there?
Oh, for sure. I mean, obviously, I grew up probably maybe 10 minutes from Bethel, and obviously, at that time, Coach Lightfoot was
Mm-hmm.
running the tables for countless years, and obviously, Indiana Wesleyan. My aunt for a long time was the head of the English department there, so had some close ties there as well. But just all the teams across the Midwest, but specifically Indiana. I mean, like I said earlier, like it's NAIA heaven, and I remember going as a freshman and sophomore when I was kind of trying to figure out the recruiting process on my own, and getting recruited by some of those guys, going to some of those games when Bethel and Indiana Wesleyan, or Bethel and Grace,
Yeah.
or Huntington, they were ranked both in the top 10, and you're like, this is what college basketball is all
Yeah.
about. I don't care if it's Division I or NAIA.
As a side note, when I was out there one time, my friend and I visited Notre Dame, and then we had an appointment over at Bethel, and I just was shocked how close Bethel was to. I think it was a 10-minute drive, if that,
Yeah,
from
yeah. No, it's pretty
Notre Dame.
close.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you're
And
coming
no
in.
shot to Notre Dame, because I'm a huge Notre Dame fan through and through. But there's a reason why, consistently over the years, why Notre Dame won't play none of them NAIA teams.
Hey, you keep talking like that. There's a guy in Indiana, lives in Warsaw. A lot of people know him, big NAI fan. Clint Dog Johnson. He's a big Notre Dame fan, and he might end up. He's a big Grace fan, but he might end up being a big CBC fan. Now that you said that, hey, so you're coming into this eyes wide open. What the NAI is, and just how good the basketball is. So when you got to Conway, you were able to kind of take the temperature, if you will. What are one or two things that you said, you know what, this part is better than where I thought we'd be?
Well, I mean, I think from the first interaction that I had with Coach Middleton, my AD, I could tell right off the bat that it's not a win at all costs type place, but he, and along with the rest of the administration, wants to do everything they can to make sure that our program is as successful as possible. And I know a lot of places kind of say that, but when you sit down with someone, you can really tell how genuine they are, how truthful, how loyal they're going to be for your program.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt it from the first 5 minutes of being with Coach. That I was going to have full support. To bring in guys that I wanted to bring in, obviously to the CBC standards. But I just think that as a whole, the culture around here from all the sports, are successful, and coaches have the right mindsets, and they're just good people. I
Mm-hmm.
had a athletic meeting, over the last couple of days, and just being around the other coaches, like they're coming by my office, checking in on me already, just like, hey, what can we do to be helpful for you? And you don't get that at a lot of places. It's kind of like being in high school or middle school, and you kind of have your cliques, and this
Yeah.
sport's there and that sport's there. But here, it just feels like a family environment already, and I'm like, that's just going to make me even more fired up than what I already am to make my guys go out and be supportive for other programs, on campus.
Yeah, that must have been a nice, pleasant surprise because you weren't quite sure what you were going to run into from that aspect, were you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, getting a job 3 weeks before school starts is not the most ideal scenario. So, a lot was thrown into my plate, and I'm sure you'll ask me, but I'll just kind of say it. But from the varsity standpoint, I mean, we only had like two guys left on the roster,
Mm-hmm.
and so, my hands were full of going out and trying to find the right group of guys in a short amount of time to build this and continue the winning ways. Because my mindset with this whole thing is, I don't want anybody looking at me and saying, well, it's all right. You just got the job a couple weeks before school. Like, use this as a gap year, learn the conference, learn the area, learn your first year of truly being a head coach at the college level. I don't want none of that. I don't want any excuses at the end of the day, because if I'm going to expect my players to learn from adversity, learn from different aspects in life for the rest of their life, like, I don't want them making excuses either. And it's got to start with me being the head coach.
Well, let's go ahead and talk about that just for a moment. There, that was one of the last couple of questions I wanted to ask you. But where are you at with putting together a roster, and how do you feel about? Obviously, every coach feels fantastic about his team going into the season, but how
Yeah.
do you feel about it right now?
Yeah, like you said, every coach in America thinks they're, on August 1st or September 1st, they're going to win the national
Yes,
championship.
they
But
should feel that way.
yeah, otherwise we shouldn't be in this seat, right?
Yep.
But I think, overall, the experience that we're bringing in from the transfers, all the
Mm-hmm.
way from Division I transfers to some JUCO guys, some high level NAIA guys that were first team all conference type players. I think we got a collective group of guys that have played in meaningful minutes.
Yeah.
And as everyone kind of knows nowadays, with college basketball and the way it's kind of forming and shaping and going, experience is got to be your number one priority.
Yep.
And that's no shot to incoming freshmen or guys that have never played before, but it's just the reality of what we're dealing with. And us as coaches either have to shape to it, or we'll get, moved out. But I think the roster as a whole, we got a lot of length, a lot of athleticism, a lot of size. So I think we're going to be very versatile. My motto or my mindset when I'm in recruiting process is, I want a lot of athleticism and versatility that they can be able to switch,
Mm-hmm.
from multiple positions. And, I'm not, as a coach would say, I don't want, some big stud that's just kind of a dud on defense.
Yeah. Nope.
I want
Understood.
guys that now my five can guard the one and my one can go guard the five.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a byproduct of how we're going to play, because we're going to be tough, we're going to be gritty. We'll probably lead the conference in fouls, and that's perfectly fine. But at the end of the day, like, win or loss, when you come and you play CBC or we come and play you, like, it's going to be a dogfight.
So talk a little bit more about that. What can fans expect? You mentioned tough, gritty, in your face, guard you all the way to the concession stand kind of thing. Just talk a little bit more what fans can expect from your team.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to play super fast, and I think with the amount of guys that we can go into our bench, our mindset is for 40 minutes, we're just going to play as fast as possible, and you got to try to keep up. We're not going to keep up with you.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when we're in the half court setting, I want our guys to have IQ, and have a thorough idea of how to play the game the right way. And obviously, with the transfer portal and getting guys, I would say, anywhere between 65 to 85% of your roster is a turnover every year. It's kind of hard to build that chemistry, but I think from day one, when these guys step on campus, our staff is going to try to do the best ability possible to teach these guys how to play the game the right way. Limiting dribbles, quick passes, quick decisions, trying to make decisions, before the ball is received, and not waiting till you catch and then a guy's sitting on you and then you try to make a move and then the defense is unshifted.
Yep.
But, from the defensive side, like I said earlier, we're just going to be tough, gritty. We're going to get in your face, and we're going to use our athleticism and size. We're going to force you, to keep the ball out of the paint. But if you're at the rim, we're going to have multiple bodies there contesting you. And in reality, like, you're going to have to make shots against us. And if you do, I'll just tip my hat to you. It wasn't our night that night, and it was your night. But, we're just going to try to overbear our opponents, with our size and athleticism.
Well, it sounds pretty exciting. The fans there in Conway, Arkansas, you better get out and support this team. Coach Henson, it sounds like he's putting together an exciting team. I like what you say about not having a gap year. You want to get right to it this year and continue that CBC Mustangs tradition.
Yeah, I mean, that was a big reason why, I took this job. I know most people are like, well, it was a head job. That's why you took it, but there's other factors that have to come into play. Like I said earlier, behind the scenes stuff with the administration support, because you can go a lot of places and it looks like this on the outside, but you really don't know what it's like on the inside. And so, from the resource standpoint to the support, the winning culture that's already been laid between, the previous coaches is a huge factor of why I wanted to take this job. But there's going to be no excuses. I'm not going to look at the end of the year and say, well, darn, like, it was our first year. Like, we know what we got to do. We got to get back to the drawing board and go to work. Like, before I even got word that I was going to get this job and offered it, I was already recruiting, writing down recruits and figuring out what type of guys that I wanted to bring in that were still available. And then soon I was, on the dot, as soon as I hung up that Zoom call after I was offered the job, it was till midnight that night, making phone calls, figuring out who we wanted to bring on board. And so, like I said, there's going to be no excuses at the end of the day. And that's how I want to build our program is there's going to be no excuses whatsoever.
Well, Coach Henson, I really appreciate you taking a couple of minutes here. I can't wait to get you back on the horn when that season gets started and, the rubber hits the road. And see how the Mustangs are doing. I can't wait to talk to you during the season as well.
Now, I talked really good about us having no excuses and stuff like that. But if we're struggling early, you can make sure that you're calling me and you're holding me accountable. Because I'll tell you one thing, Coach Sam, left us a gruesome non-conference schedule against some really good opponents. I've got some stuff in the work that is getting close to being finalized, that we're going to play a couple opponents, and I think you kind of know where I'm going. That will help us once we get to our conference and hopefully make a run at the national tournament. So I think, specifically all those games in the non-conference is going to be preparing us to hopefully win a conference championship, win a conference tournament, and make a deep run in the national tournament. But it starts on day one when we hit campus.
Well, I can tell you, I'm definitely looking forward to it. And, I'm going to be keeping a close eye on those Mustangs, and I look forward to talking to you during the season.
Well, I appreciate your time, and I appreciate you having me on.
That's Coach Cody Henson, new head men's basketball coach, Central Baptist College. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hey, thanks a lot to Cody Henson as well as Central Baptist College. We wish him a lot of luck. I think you see what I was saying earlier about the no excuses. He's really serious about that. And I admired that. Hey, join us tomorrow. We're going to have Jared Yock, treat for you, Crossroads League fans. He's the new head basketball coach there at Huntington. He assisted there for many years under Corey, and now he's the new head basketball coach there. We'll have him tomorrow. So make sure you tune in then. I appreciate everybody listening, and looks like Season 7, Episode 1 is in the can. Thank you very much for supporting our podcast. Please like and subscribe. Get out to your local NAIA school, because NAIA basketball is the best entertainment value in America.